Hello, Internet audience. My name is Sam Berliner. I use he and they pronouns, and I'm a programmer with Frameline44. Thank you so much to our audience for joining us for the Q&A for Cowboys. We're super honored to have a bunch of guests from the film with us this evening, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves to you. Please say your name and your role on the film, and then we will dive in.
Great. I'm Anna Kerrigan. Thank you for watching Cowboys. I'm the writer and director.
Hi, I'm Steve Zahn, and I play Troy.
Hi, I'm Sasha Knight, and I play Joe.
Hi, I'm Jillian Bell, and I play Sally.
Awesome. So excited that you're all here. This is great.
I don't know why. I feel like we're in a newscast.
Like, are you the correspondent from this place and you're hearing this other thing? Yeah. We're pretty fancy here.
Yeah, it's great.
But yeah, first off, I just wanted to say congratulations to all of you for such a fantastic film. It really blew me away, and we're just so thrilled to have it here at Frameline to share with our audience. And I just wanted to say right off the bat that with this film, I feel like you've really illustrated issues of raising a transgender kid and showing how to love and accept that kid unconditionally, and elevated that to a platform that I hope a lot of people will see. And with everything that went into that, I feel like it's an amazing accomplishment in the genre of trans representation. I've seen a lot over the years, and it just, thank you for what you did.
Oh.
So I know that's not a question, but I just wanted to tell you.
That's very sweet. Thank you so much. It means a lot.
For sure. So Anna, I thought I would start off with you. And congratulations, by the way, for the Best Screenplay prize at Tribeca. That's super awesome. And I was curious, where did this story come from? How long have you been writing it, and your connection to the transgender community?
Yeah, so I started going to this part of Montana, the Flathead Valley, when I was like 10 years old, and I just fell in love with the place. And it always had a very special spot in my heart. I think that whenever I felt homesick, I actually would miss Montana. But as I started to get older growing up there, I'm from LA originally, and I lived in New York and during my 20s, I started to see that, I had a maybe more expansive view of certain issues and some of the people that I was running into in Montana. So I felt a little conflicted about it. And when I moved back from New York to LA, I was in sort of a dark period, and I started to write this screenplay. I just wanted to be in that part of Montana. And when I started, all I knew was that there was a father and a son on a horse, and that they were getting away from something. And the plot of the movie really just revealed itself to me that way. So in terms of my relationship with the community, I mean, I'm not transgender myself, but I've always had a lot of people in the LGBTQ community in my life. And so they find their way into my films and my projects. I had worked with a transgender actor before on a web series called The Impossibilities. I, was the RA of the sort of like unofficially LGBTQ dorm at my school. And I had something at Outfest before, a web series that I directed that won the audience award there, that also dealt with, issues within the community. So I'm not like on a mission necessarily, but it just organically sort of happens that I write characters who are transgender or LGBTQ.
That's great. Thank you for explaining. That's so awesome that like you can have an idea, and it's just the little essence of an idea, and then it can evolve and grow and grow.
Yeah, it can be a very sloppy way of writing, but it turned out well.
Whatever works for you, really. It seems to be working. Cool. I was curious. I'd love to ask the three cast members how you got connected to the film and what drew you to the project, in whatever order you would like to answer.
I got it through my agent. My agent sent it to me along with like 2 other scripts, and I couldn't put this one down. I was just so in love with it and enthralled. And one of my favorite movies of all time is Ordinary People, and I just think it kind of reminded me of that in sort of this flawed family that's very nuanced, and I was looking to play a character that was so different from myself, and this one just really stood out. And so I met up with Anna and sort of begged her for the role.
You didn't have to beg that hard.
There was I'm just saying, on my end, I really wanted it.
I did too. I mean, I read it and was floored and so moved by it. Its simplicity and it's just this love between this father and son was beautiful. And it's one that and then, this was a year and a half at least, or 2 years before we shot. So, there was a whole pre-process of trying to get money and hoping that it would be made, and luckily it was. But yeah, this was a rare script where you don't even care what the budget is or what, you just want to be involved. And I'm lucky that Anna let me play.
So I got connected to the role because I wasn't really doing on-camera auditions, but the character was trans, so I auditioned for it, and I was very happy because there's not very many roles that are trans and they're children. So I just auditioned for it, and then I read the script, and it was amazing. So then I booked it.
Easy as pie.
Yeah. Finding Sasha was a little harder than Sasha's end of the experience. We're lucky we found you.
About that. Yeah. How did you find Sasha?
We worked with Edie Belasco, who was the casting director of Transparent, and we did. GLAAD also consulted on the film, and we did a combination of traditional outreach like through the regular casting channels, and then we also did outreach to nonprofits that support the families of transgender kids through transgender support groups. We were contacting like summer camps, and it was a whole thing. And initially Edie went through a bunch of submissions, and then I met with a bunch of kids and their parents remotely, which was also amazing just to hear how other people felt about the script, and to hear that it really resonated across the country with these families. And unfortunately, like the parent dynamics were something that was prevalent. And yeah, so we found Sasha. Luckily, Sasha was based in LA, so I was able to work with him directly. And we started to meet a few months before we shot. We would just meet like once a week and talk about the character and Sasha's experiences, just to go into production, having gotten to know each other.
Yeah. That's so cool. Like, I don't work at this level, so I mean, I'm a filmmaker, but like, I don't know about casting at this level. And so it's really wonderful to hear that even at that level, you get to reinvent the process to really find the right people for the right roles. So nice job. That was a thumbs up. It looked really weird.
It looked like a handshake and a thumbs up.
Okay.
That's all good.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm just so glad that all of you got connected to it, and that the script made its way to you. For Anna, I'd love to talk a little bit about characters. one thing that really struck me was how Joe's adoration of everything male and masculine and like cowboy and macho was almost balanced by the strong female depiction of the detective, Faith. And she's like, you do not want to mess with this woman. She is so serious. And for me, that contrast really balanced really nicely and kind of made it so that you weren't saying only men get to do these things. It's just this child feels this way, but there are other ways of being in the world. Can you talk about how that was, or if that was an intentional choice?
I love it. I love it when people have smarter things to say about it than I do. I was like, that sounds great. Yeah. I mean, I think that, you know, and Jillian can speak to this too. You know, her care. I think, you know, gender and gender identity is something that all the characters kind of explore, right? I mean, Troy is, you know, in some ways he's a manly man, and in other ways he really defies what we think about that. And you know, he has his vulnerabilities and his illness and his demons that he battles, which I think, you know, make him a sensitive character. And then for Jillian's character, she's kind of also bound in the constructs of the, you know, super feminized idea of what a woman should be, what she's been raised to believe she should be like. And, you know, she projects that for a while onto Joe as well. So I think that's something that I am always interested in, even if I'm not explicitly thinking about it. But yeah, I like what you said. Let's just go with that. Oh, wait, I'm pointing. It's the opposite. Sorry.
Gosh.
Wait, other way. Other way.
People on both sides know.
I was curious, Jillian, if you had thoughts on that as well. If talking about the strength of the mom character, and like she's tough too. Like she's got a lot to go through. She's
tough. It's definitely probably one of the hardest characters I've had to play. I was saying before that this is the second drama I've been a part of, and the first one was so close to who I actually am, and this was the complete opposite, where I sort of had to figure out who she was, because I realized taking on the role that there were going to be people who were watching who were like, that's who I'm closest to, is Sally's journey, is Sally's story, is how Sally feels, and to, you know, initially when you're reading, it's so easy to look at her and just make her sort of a monster or the antagonist. And with it, I sort of had to look at it as like this beautiful journey that she gets to go to. Anna wrote such a dynamic character that I got to play. And there's such great responsibility with that, you know, truly playing all sides of her. And some were clearly more difficult to play than others. I was so happy by the end of shooting what we were doing with Sally and how I actually felt within my body, because I was very uncomfortable playing her because she is so different from me. But I'm really glad I got to do it.
Yeah, her journey is so intense. Like the moment in the store near the end when she like the switch goes and she's like, I'm gonna buy all the boy stuff, is like, oh my God, like I really felt it.
And that was a scene we shot later on. We shot in Los Angeles, and I'm so glad it's in the movie, and it's probably one of my favorite scenes, just because you get to see this side of Sally that you don't see much throughout the film, her truly accepting her kid as he is.
Yeah. Oh, I want to watch it again. I know that the people who are watching the Q&A literally just watched it, but you all should watch it again. Okay. Hey, Steve, I'd love to hear about how you and I was gonna say Joe, Sasha, got to like how you built that connection with each other, because your character just loves his kid so much, and I love watching them interact. And how did you build that relationship? How did that work?
It was quite easy. I mean, I love Sasha. So awesome. We had so much fun, and we spent a lot of time before the movie in prep. I mean, just hanging out. I mean, I came down like 2 weeks before Sash was there, and we rode horse, and we went to dinner, and we hung out, and then we all stayed at the same kind of really cool boutique hotel, and we really got to know each other well. So that and I knew that would be really important to build a rapport for me and for Sash to feel comfortable. We had a lot of really, really heavy stuff, and it's that time spent was really valuable and a lot of fun too. But I think it comes off on camera.
I think so as well. Sasha, did you want to share anything about that experience, like getting to know Steve and building that relationship?
Sure, I feel the exact same way. We obviously have good chemistry. Like, I love Steve too, and like we hung out all the time, not on set and on set, but it was just awesome. Like Steve said, we went there a week earlier, and all we did was hang out and just bond, and that helped a lot with us getting to know each other, because we weren't shooting then, we were just hanging out, so that was good.
Yeah, I was curious, like, had you ridden a horse before? Like, you had?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Sasha's pretty amazing kind of athlete. I mean, you're rock climbing, all outdoor stuff, so yeah, you killed it all the time. Like that mount, remember when we practiced that mount on the horse?
Yeah.
That was like instantaneous. That wasn't even we didn't even have to, it was just like grab arms.
Yeah.
You were amazing. Yeah.
Had you been on a horse before, Steve?
Oh yeah. I live in I'm broadcasting from my farm in Kentucky. I have horses.
Oh, okay.
I've done a bunch of westerns, and I can rope a steer and all that stuff.
Whoa.
So it was a blast.
I was just curious. Okay, let's see. Hey, Anna. I was curious if you wanted to talk about, speaking of horses and stuff, Western tropes. I know that in an interview I read, you said that it plays with Western tropes in a modern way. And I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, I think that, when I said that, of course there's people have seen the movie, right? If they're watching this?
Yes.
Okay. There is like a shootout and stuff with guns and horses and whatnot. But when I was thinking about, how this is sort of a modern Western, it's, I thought about like, who are the outcasts? Not as I said, like it's messy and organic when I actually start to write, but when I sort of was looking at the script later, I was like, oh, it's a mentally ill dad and his transgender son are kind of a modern outcast duo who are having to escape the I'm blanking on words. My blood sugar is so low.
Oh no.
But you know what I mean? That was sort of where I was going with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the music with the whistling.
Yeah. We have an amazing composer, this guy, Gene Back. And, I wanted to have a soundtrack that sounded Westerny without feeling like so super nostalgic that it just felt like I was, being derivative. So we played around with that a lot. I actually, at one point, the guy is amazing. He wrote basically the entire score in one direction. And then I was like, we were wrong. We need to redo the whole thing.
Oh, no.
And he rewrote the whole thing very fast. He's a one-man band. He did everything himself. He plays every instrument himself. He recorded everything himself in his studio.
Wow.
And it's funny as sort of like a spec piece, he did the opening piece of music, which ends up being the theme for Joe and Troy, that we, repeat in various iterations throughout the film. And he just nailed it. He's just fantastic. So hire him, other people.
Well, it shows. It shows. It's so good. And I can't believe he did it all by himself. It reminds me of the guy in Mary Poppins with like the drum and the other thing and the cymbal.
Yeah, and we did it all remotely too. I mean, we finished all of post essentially. I mean, we had our cut basically, but everything post-wise after that was done remotely. But Jean lives in New York and I live in LA. So it was all remote anyways.
The magic.
That's
magic
right.
of being remote. Cool. Hey Steve, I have another question for you. I think you're muted.
Yeah, I was muted.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I said, shoot.
The scene near the end where Joe confronts Troy about not taking his pills, and the big role reversal happens between them, and like relinquishing control and all of this that happens. And really from that moment on, it seems like Joe takes the lead, as opposed to Troy, who was, even if it was a facade, he was still trying to lead. I'd love to hear about that confrontation scene and the process on working on that. Your character goes through such a transformation.
Yeah, I really, that was kind of the scene I remember thinking about a lot, and I could visualize playing it. And I remember talking to Anna before and going like, how are we going to shoot that? This is going to, this is going to be hard to do. And this is crazy, but we did the scene with 2 cameras one time, and I don't know if you can see it in the cut, but it's very hard to explain. I got a massive headache where I couldn't even think straight, and I forget what you call it, but I forgot. I couldn't remember the scene. We did it one time. And I went to the hospital, and they had an MRI done and everything. And I forget what he said. It's like these it's like a minuscule stroke kind of thing. Not a stroke, but
it was like an abnormal migraine or something.
Yeah, he said it was very common, and it was really scary though. It was it scared the hell out of me. But yeah, so that was one take. But that was one scene that I really was very nervous about, but also very I couldn't wait to do it because I knew it.
Well, luckily it was one take, but you nailed it.
You were so great.
And we did Steve's coverage first, and then he left, and
I felt so bad. Sasha had to do this off
with me,
with you.
Oh wow.
And I was like, what's happening to Steve? Oh my God, what's going on? Because we didn't know, and we were in a place with no cell reception.
No, we had to drive for like 45 minutes to get to
So crazy. And that was Ann Dowd's first day too, and she met me and I was like, hey, how you doing?
Right.
Everything is fine. But Sasha was such a sport. I mean, I was like, he turned to me and I was like, and he goes, well, you have to read it now. And I was like,
Well, it's also bad.
Well, you're much better at acting than I am.
But you can't even tell watching that scene. I mean, it's one of the most moving scenes in the movie, and seeing that truly go from being like father son to the son is now just
Yeah,
reversed.
it's really remarkable, and
And the fact that you had to go to the hospital right after that, I mean, that's
you can see
insane.
me. I sit down and I go like this
Yeah.
on the back of my
Yeah.
head. It was
You
so
sit on the
painful.
log.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was like, and I remember thinking, let's get through this take. Oh God, that was really scary. And I couldn't remember the scene. Remember, I was like, "What's the line?"
I know, it was so
And then
scary.
Gigi read the line, and I was like, "That's not the line." Like, yeah, it is. I'm like, and I over prepare. Like, I over prepare just out of fear. You know, completely true. Like, you just as an actor, you're fearful that you're gonna suck, so you just over prepare. So the fact that I didn't remember it was kind of alarming.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
And Sasha was, I hate to tell you this, Steve, and maybe Sasha doesn't remember this, but I was like, oh my, because, you know, we were sort of like trying to hide it from Sasha, and you went off, we like took a break, and then you left, and I was like, well, I have to tell Sasha that, you know, Steve is going to the hospital, but everything is going to be okay. And I sat down with Sasha, and I was like, Sasha, you know, everything is going to be fine, but Steve has to go to the hospital. And Sasha was like, okay, cool.
He's the kid on the planet.
And I was like, and I'm reading, and he was like, okay. And then after the scene, Sasha was like, you're pretty good.
Golly.
Wow. Well, like Jillian said, you can't tell. I had no idea. And like, dare I say, the you know, like people read into what you see, and you decide that that's what it's supposed to be. So it seemed like Troy was like, his head was hurting because he was going through this intense thing.
It was a combination of dehydration, altitude, and no oxygen because I was crying. So.
Oh.
But then in like 2 hours later, you were fishing.
I came back and I was like, I might as well fish a little bit.
I was like, we could have waited. By that point, we were like shooting Anne on a horse.
Yeah. Fly fishing. Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, Sasha, you were amazing, and you were a great sport to bring it without your wonderful scene partner.
Yeah, that's remarkable to pull that off.
Yeah. Sasha, did you want to talk about that scene at all, or any of that, or do you feel like we talked about it and we should move on?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you did great. I think we've established that. Awesome. Well, I think in the interest of time, I would love to chat with you for, I don't know, 5-6 hours. But I'm not allowed to do that. So I think I will ask the question for each of you. I'd love to know what you hope the audience takes away from the film. Why you laugh?
Because we just awkwardly fumbled through this one in a Q&A like an hour and a half ago.
Anna and Sasha had really good ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for pumping me up. It always feels like kind of, I don't know, like arrogant to me to like tell people what to feel or what I want them to feel. Like I want them to experience the journey of the movie. But I guess, you know, my main hope is that through the lens of a family that I think, you know, anyone hopefully can find relatable. You know, we can shine a light on gender identity and, you know, hopefully make people understand that it's, you know, it's your family is your family, I guess, is what I
like that. I think that's good.
Yeah, thanks. We're working on it. Now in the next Q&A,
I mean,
it's even better.
You know, the subject matter, it's about, you know, this kid identifying, but it's so hard to explain. But it's not. That's not the primary focus. The primary focus is love, and that's secondary. And that's why I love the script so much. That's why I love the movie so much. It's like this really beautiful story of this family struggling, these flawed people, which we all are, and this journey, this beautiful relationship, and this journey with this father and son.
Does he have that quote?
Mic drop. But yeah, I think how you said is actually right on. Like, the way that I think about it is plot versus story, you know, and like the plot is what's happening, and the story is like the heart part, you know, and both are really important. But I think, at least for me, getting the actual, like the gist, the story is like the main part. And yes, it's about gender, but more it's about family and relationships and loving each other, which it's a pretty good message. Just saying. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of wanted to end with just finding out how the film has been received. Like, I'm dying to have so many people, as many people as possible, see this, and I can't wait to see what kind of impact it has on like wider and wider audiences. Do you know what your distribution plans are, or where people will be able to see it?
We're going to be distributed by Samuel Goldwyn, and we don't have a date yet. We're still working that out, but you know, more soon. It's also, I mean, it's a really strange time. Everyone is reinventing how independent film in general gets out to an audience because of COVID. But I do think there are some silver linings in a way. Like, you know, our film, once it gets out there, I think will be very accessible to a lot of people. And that'll, you know, we're hoping to like we want to make a little bit of noise when it does land, but you know, then there will be like instant access. And I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm holding on to false hope that like theatrical will happen, but I don't know if it will in time for this movie to be released.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And we're still doing, you know, so we have domestic distribution, and then we're going to play a festival in the Netherlands, and we're starting to open up to international. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, like I said, I love this movie so much, and I cannot wait for everyone else to get to see it, and for me to be able to say, hey, this movie's out. Have you seen it yet? How have you not? Go see it here. So it's just, I think it's going to make a really beautiful impact on whatever platform it's able to access. So thank you all so much
for
this beautiful film. Seriously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good interview, dude.
Oh, high five.
Shut up.
Great.